interesting book called The Bumblebee Bike, written by Sandra Levins and illustrated by Claire Key. Sandra Levins is a Burlington author, so this is very, very special. David was impatient. When he saw something he wanted, his teeth clenched, and his fists tightened, and his heart raced. When he wanted something, he wanted it right away. Now look at the picture. See if you can figure out what do you think is going to happen next. That's called a hypothesis. It's a guess about what you think is going to happen. David tiptoed to his bedroom, looking both ways to check that Mom was nowhere in sight. He closed his bedroom door and listened for the click of the latch. David opened the closet and dropped to his knees. "'Excuse me, Elton Don," he whispered. Elton Don was more than a floppy-eared friend. He was camouflage. The shoebox he rested on was David's treasure chest. His heart thumping, David unzipped his backpack and reached inside. Did you guess what might be inside his backpack? He felt it, smooth and slick. Superman. The sparkly red cape shimmered. One word escaped his lips. Cool. David felt a little guilty. Superman belonged to his best friend, Peyton. David borrowed it. Well, he sort of borrowed it. He borrowed it without asking. When David saw Peyton's Superman, he felt his teeth clench. His fists tightened. His heart raced. He wanted it right away. David and Peyton played together all morning, but David's mind was on that sparkly cape, those red boots, that big red S. When Peyton's mom called, "Lunch is ready," David hung back. This was his chance. He snatched Superman faster than a speeding bullet. Did you guess that was what was going to happen? David added Superman to the collection of things he had borrowed without asking. He pressed a button to start the blinking red nose on Aunt Rhonda's reindeer pin. And he whirled the St. Patrick's Day pencil between his palms. It belonged to his teacher, Mr. Jude. The green feathery top puffed out like a dandelion. An apple-sized jack-o'-lantern grinned just like it had on Mrs. James's porch. And he squeezed a tiny rubber ball and remembered the day he and his neighbor Charlie bounced it higher than her house. David planned to cut it open to see what was inside. He told himself that he would give it all back someday. Well, maybe not the ball, if it was cut in half. Yet there was no treasure in the world that he cared about more than his bicycle. It was a dazzling yellow with knobby tires and bumblebee striped seat. His Bumblebee Bike. Every morning, David pedaled in circles around his driveway, making giant figure eights. Every afternoon, David, Mom, and baby Macy rode together to the park. Every evening, David and Dad explored the trails near their home. Dad always reminded David to put his bike in the garage. You don't want your bumblebee to disappear. One awful morning, David discovered that his bike was missing. Horrified, he remembered he had left it outside. Someone had taken his Bumblebee Bike. David felt sick. Why would someone take something that belonged to someone else? His stomach churned. He remembered his secret stash, the treasures he had borrowed without asking. As Dad filed a police report, David sulked in his room. It felt absolutely rotten to have something taken this way. But David felt double absolutely rotten because he knew that others felt absolutely rotten because of the things he had done. He kicked a soccer ball in circles around the driveway and made a giant figure 8, but it wasn't the same. He and Mom pushed Macy in her stroller, but it wasn't the same. He tossed a football with Dad, but it wasn't the same. And because he felt double absolutely rotten, he avoided Peyton and Charlie when they knocked on his door. He peeked out and he said, "Just go away! Go away!" He avoided Mrs. James too, pretending not to hear when she called his name. And at school, he acted busy and didn't look Mr. Jude in the eye. One evening, Aunt Rhonda stopped by and David took a deep breath. He wanted to make this right. "Aunt Rhonda," he stammered, "I have something that belongs to you. I borrowed it without asking. I'm sorry." Aunt Rhonda hugged him close, and he didn't wiggle away as usual. David set out to return each treasure to its rightful owner. Each time he said, "I have something that belongs to you. I borrowed it without asking. I'm sorry." Mrs. James said, "Well, I'll be. I thought the wind blew that little pumpkin away." Peyton said, "I wondered what happened to that guy. If you'd asked, I would have let you borrow him." "I thought I'd lost it," said Charlie, who was glad to get her ball back before he cut it in half. Mr. Jude ruffled David's hair. David still felt crummy about his bike, but as his backpack lightened up, so did his heart. A few days later, a police car pulled into their driveway. David gulped. Was he going to be arrested? The officer popped the trunk and with a broad smile lifted out David's bike. "This look familiar?" It was muddy, had weeds in the spokes, and an ugly scuff on the striped seat, but it was definitely his Bumblebee. As he and Dad hosed off mud and pulled out weeds, Mom handed Dave a small gift bag, and inside was a miniature license plate with his name on it, D-A-V-I-D, David. Mom said, "Now everyone will know who the Bumblebee belongs to." "Yep," said David, "and I know what belongs to me."